Just as again a reminder, there are multiple ways to do it. There are many libraries that you can use to read from files and write to files. We will just see some of them. And yes, unfortunately, the way that you create each of these files might be different. There are some common points, but in many cases, they have also some differences. But we will see the popular ones, inshallah, so that it will be also useful for you. So first, we'll begin with the scanner and the formatter ones. So this is for character-based files. So it's not for binary data, binary files. If it contains data that you can read, characters, then you can use the scanner and the formatter. And for the scanner part, now you already know it. We had used it to get data from the user from the keyboard. But we can also use it, well, it has multiple constructors. If you use the system.in, it is to read data from the keyboard. But you can also give it a string, and then you can process that string if you give the constructor a string. And if you give a file object in the constructor, then it is used to read from the file. So you can read from the keyboard, you can process strings that you directly give, or you can process the strings from the files. That in all you can use the scanner. And well, this is a general thing that you should do for each Java file. If you don't know what to do with it, like the library, you can just check its API document. Do you know what it is? API document. Have you ever checked it?
Documentation.
Documentation. How do you find it?
You can just on the website.
Yeah, you can just Google Java Scanner API. Then, if you go to the Oracle's website, okay, this is the actual one. I highly recommend it. It explains that class in detail, and then actually how to use it. The main part also, if you just go down, it lists all the constructors it has. Like as you can see, you can give a file, you can give it a path, input stream, string, and so on. And also the libraries, the methods, like what it returns, what's the function name, its parameters, and what it does. So this is true for many Java libraries. Like they provide so many functions that you can use. And again, I don't recommend to memorize them. Just you can try to memorize maybe the main one, the common ones, but it's really hard to memorize all of them. But for the scanner part, I can say it one pattern it has. Like what you can do is, besides this opening the closing parts, most of the part is first you can check has next. Is there any text to read? And the scanner provides you reading data in different data types. Like you can read as an integer, float, boolean, long, etc., etc. So for those, it has all these functions: next int, next float, next double, next byte, next boolean, next, and so on and so. So it reads the data and then returns in that format. For each of these next functions, it has this has next function. So because you have to check, okay, did you come to the end of the file? You should first check it before reading it. By using this has next functions, like has next, is there any next string to read? If it is, then you should call the next function. Has next int, is there any integer to read? Yes, if it is, then you should call the next int function. So this is the main idea. Otherwise, your program will crash. But of course, there are some other more functions that you can check. But again, I don't think that you have to memorize it. But at least be aware of what you can do with the scanner function. Now going back to our slides. So let's see one example. And maybe I should let's first read from the file anyway. So we define the scanner function. Okay, this is defined as an attribute. I will explain it why later on. First, we have to put it in a this try block. So when we are opening the file, so when we are saying okay, try in one, which is the scanner function, new scanner, and then we put here a new file object, and then the file object takes the file name, and then this has to be in try catch block. But then for the other operations that you need, like has next line functions, you don't need to do it, so that they can be outside the try block. This feature changes across all I/O libraries in Java. Like that we will see later on, like buffered reader. For that one, all operations should be done in a try catch block. But for the scanner, only when you are trying to open it, you have to use it. Other operations should not be. And then what we are doing here is basically reading line by line. We first check, okay, is there any string to read, has next, and then if it is, then we say, okay, in one dot next line gives us the next line to read, so that then we print it. So basically this document reads the file line by line. And similarly, well, this is line by line, and this gives us based on the delimiter. This is to read word by word. So I will copy paste this code, and then we will do it together, okay? So let me select this code also. I will put it in my I will clean my screen, copy paste my function, and this is for the scanner in 1 and in 2, and we need to first indent it, otherwise it looks really bad. All right, then we have to first import the library. That's why we are getting this error. Import scanner. Now I don't have this mydata.txt file, so what I can do is I can look at, I have this file txt function, so I will just put some more content in because I will read it. Let's say line 2, line 3, and so on. Then I will go back to my code. So what I will read is, I will read this file.txt. I'm getting this error because I need to import it. All right. Then this is, I think it might not be initialized. That's why we are getting this error. Yeah. What I will do is, well, this is actually not a very good code, by the way. I will comment on this. Let's go one by one. I will delete this part first. All right. So this is the code that is in the slide. So we have this in one first, and then we are creating it, and then here we are reading it. There's something that we forgot, which is whenever you open something, you should definitely close it. Otherwise, if the program crashes when your file is open, it might cause some resource allocation problem later on. And when you are trying to close your program, the operating system might complain about it, say that, okay, there's some open files that you have to close. So especially in the quiz and the final exam, close the files, okay? If you don't, it will cost some points for you. If you use a scanner, definitely be sure that you are closing you will close that file. And as a hint also, what I can say is, let's say that you are reading a file, you are just implementing it, okay? Even before you start, what you can do is, okay, I opened it, and not to forget, just at the very end, put that you are closing it. That's a good habit, actually, not to forget to close the files, okay? Then you can, in the middle, you can write whatever you want to whatever you will put. And well, what I will do, and again, this is the main thing that scanner forces you to use the try block, forces you to open in a try catch, but the others does not have to. But if you write this program, this might not look good. Why is that? Do you have any idea? I mean, this is not a very good way of programming this code. Why?
You will print everything without checking. So everything in the file will be printed.
Yes, but let's say that we want to print everything in the class, in that file. Our program can crash. This is the problem. Yeah, if there's any problem, if the program is not there, what will happen is we will not be able to initialize it, so it will remain null. And then from a null object, we will try to use that. So this is not actually a good programming way. Well, you can do it, but for simplify the process, I will first put it here, okay? So that if it fails, I will not also try to open that, try to read it, okay? But just be sure that, yeah, this is not requiring any, this doesn't have to be in the try catch block. Then what?
Throws IO exception is not enough.
Excuse me?
Throw exceptions above. It's not enough. Throws.
Oh, this is where this is coming from our previous example. That's, yeah, it has to be deleted. Thank you. Nice catch. Thank you.
If we put a throw exception, should be enough?
Yes. If we put this throws IO exception, then I don't need to put these. That would be enough. Yes. This should be scanner, of course. But in that sense, then you should really. But this is actually, we are not so handling the exception because we are already in the main block, main method, which means that if there's an error, our program will crash. So actually, we should not do this. Actually, it is just to stop the compiler to complain about it and not to type try catch block. But actually, we are not handling it. This is not actually a good programming. Also, if we do this, so it should be in this way. Now let's run this code and then see what it will print. Well, as you can see that it will print, this is an output redirection line 2 and line 3, which is the output of our function, which is here. So what we are doing is, now let me go over the code. I'm checking, wait, is there any file, is there any text to read? Okay. Then if it is, okay, read the next line. Then check again, is there any data to read? Yes, then read the next line. This is how we can do it. The other one is, now let me also do that. I will put it here. And this will be new scanner. Now I gave it a string. So first I define a string here. This starts 555, whatever the text. And then in my parameter, I give this string as a parameter to the constructor. And then in that one, I check, okay, is there any next token to read? And then if there is, I read it. But I didn't say next line here. I just said next. So what is the difference here is, I will show it now. Okay, it prints this part, which is start 55, and then the next line is 555. Then the hello 1 2 3. So what is here is happening is next actually by default divides the string into tokens, into smaller parts. Based on what? Based on space character, based on tab character, based on new line character. So basically, it's a really good way to count the words, to count the words, for instance. So basically, how many words I have? Start 555, hello 123, CCDD, and so on and so on. So based on using this delimiter, it prints this message. So whenever I say next, it prints the next word, and so on. So it goes in this way. But you might say that, okay, I don't want to do it in this way. Maybe you have a CSV file, okay? In a CSV file, the data is separated by commas. So what you might want to do is, okay, I want to process it each cell separately. So I want to separate it by a comma. Then what I can do is, I can set the data, set delimiter, use delimiter as a comma, okay? Then what it will do is it will process the data, separate the data based on a comma. So what we can, if we do it, is there any comma here? No. So let's do something else. Let's say that underscore, okay? So that would, so maybe I just want to separate it based on the underscore here, based on this string. So then, here will be my output. From start to up to here, it will print. This is the first token. This is the next token. And the rest is the next token. So there are only 3 tokens.
By default, it is one space, right?
Space, tab, and the new line. All of them.
It's like this is 3 spaces.
3 spaces?
Not slash and not slash d, not one space, but 3 spaces.
So this is a tab character. If you, I have this tab character here. So it also separates it based on it. Let me redo this part. Let me not change the delimiter, go with the original one. So when I do it, I also don't want to print it. Anyhow, just ignore these 3 lines. So okay, it's starting from here. It says start because start is here, and then I have a comma here. Then it says 555, and then there is a tab character, as you can see here. So that's why it only prints 555. The tab is also another delimiter that it is using by default. Then hello 123, and then another space. Then CCCDDD, and so on. So it goes, new line, tab, and also the space characters. If you put 3 spaces, if this is your question, let's put it. It will not print empty lines there. It will just, as you can see, it's none of, this is, after hello 123, it gave me a CCCDDD. So multiple spaces are also considered as a one space. All right. Any questions so far? So it's, okay, I think we can stop here because this is I will not be able to continue with the formatted class. I will not be able to finish it in 2 minutes. So this is the class for today. Thank you for your attendance.